Hello all, welcome to my class. My name is Pooja Divedi. Today we shall talk about all the important events that are important from the perspective of your examination UPSC. And if you are a student of any other examination as well where current affairs are a major part, you can also watch this class. Very important. If you want to get the access to the PDFs that I use here, make sure that you are a subscriber to my Telegram channel, Pooja Divedi UPSC. If you have any queries, you can talk to me on my Instagram and follow me on my threads. So these are the various events that we have to cover today. First, let's talk about the practice question. Both the countries have decided to elevate bilateral ties to strategic partnership. That means strategy can move ahead from just trade. It can also go to defense. And they have promised to double bilateral trade by 2030. The two sides have also agreed to have an institutional dialogue framework. That means a dialogue like 2+2 at the level of national security advisors. Now, as I have given you the example of 2+2, of course, 2+2 is an institutional framework. That means the institutions of Ministry of External Affairs and Defense meet their counterparts. Similarly, with this country, we are going with national security advisors. Besides vowing to strengthen defense industrial cooperation, both the countries have decided to expand cooperation in areas of defense and security, infrastructure, agriculture, education, and new and emerging technologies. So the above mentioned lines refer to the relationship between, I will tell you the answer, many of you have answered it correctly. It's India and Greece. Option C is correct over here. When Prime Minister Narendra Modi went to Greece, they decided to elevate their bilateral ties to strategic partnership. Here is the country of Greece that is situated in the Mediterranean Sea, and to its east it has the Aegean Sea. It is surrounded by Albania, North Macedonia, Bulgaria, and Turkey as well. Now, they have agreed to finalize a migration and mobility pact soon. The two sides have also agreed to have an institutional dialogue framework at the level of NSA. Also, they have vowed to strengthen defense industrial cooperation. That means India will have a presence in the Mediterranean Sea soon. Consider the following statements. Halal certificates tell a consumer whether a product meets the requirement of Islamic dietary law. India has an official regulator for the certification of halal products. The government of India doesn't mandate halal certification. So what do we see? What do we have to see? We have to see how many of the statements given above is or are correct. Halal actually means permissible. It is in opposition to haram. Haram means forbidden. And halal certificate basically tells if any particular product, if it is processed or packaged, if it is in accordance with the Islamic dietary law or not. It doesn't show that there will be a presence of meat. So halal certificates tell a consumer whether a product meets the requirement of Islamic dietary law. One is definitely correct. India doesn't actually have an official regulator. That is why we have many agencies do it. And it creates confusion at some level because people are not aware what halal is basically. Government of India doesn't mandate halal certification. That is another thing. So first is correct. Second is incorrect. We do not have an official regulator. And also third is correct. First and third are correct. Two only will be the correct answer over here. Option B is correct. Recently, the UP government has banned the sale of halal certified food items on certain grounds. First ground is it creates confusion regarding the quality of food items. If somebody sees halal, they may think that it is a meat product because they are not aware of it. Once they get aware, then it's fine. But it is against basic intention of the Food Safety and Standards Act of 2006 because we do not have any official regulation or a uniform codification. How to certify it? That is why. It fosters social animosity and the forged halal certificates violates public trust as well. The Arabic word it is that translates to permissible in English. In Quran, halal is contrasted with the term haram. Even FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, has defined it as one that is permitted under the Islamic law. There is also a dietary law in Orthodox Jews, that is the Kashrut rules. So that means they exclusively consume kosher food which is sanctioned by the Jewish law. Haram would be pork and intoxicants in Islamic dietary law. So these are not halal. Supposedly there is a vegetarian food that is of course in consonance with the Islamic dietary law, then that is halal food. Halal certificates tell a consumer whether a product meets the requirements of the Islamic dietary law or not. They do not indicate that there is meat in it. India doesn't have any official regulator for the certification of halal products. With respect to Onna Tukara Sesame, consider the following statements. it is a sesame seed which is native to Kerala. It is known for its high oil content and it is not GI tagged. So what do we have to see? How many of the statements given above is or are correct? First statement is definitely correct. It comes from a place by the name of the sesame itself, Onnathukkara in Kerala. And it has high oil content, high protein content, but it is also GI tagged. Okay, so first is correct, second is correct, third is not correct. How many of the statements are correct? Two only will be the correct answer. Onnathukkara sesame is a sesame seed that is native to the Onnathukkara region of Kerala. It is known for its high oil content, very rich aroma, that means smell, and nutty flavor. It is rich in vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and also has anti-cancer properties. It's a good source of protein, fiber, as well as calcium. What does it need? As in temperature, between 25 to 35 degrees Celsius, it can survive in relatively drought-tolerant conditions. That means if any region doesn't register a lot of rainfall. It requires about 450 to 60 mm of rainfall. Well-drained, fertile soil with a pH between 6.0 to 7.5 is good for it, and it is not tolerant of acidic or saline soils. These are many important prelims facts that you have to remember. India and Myanmar are among the largest producer of sesame, and it can be grown in Kharif, Rabi, Zaid season, but 75% of the production comes from the Kharif season. And more than 85% of sesame production is being done by West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, UP, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. You have to remember the names here. Moving on. What does loss and damage signify in the context of climate change? The fleeting and reversible consequences of climate fluctuation, impacts strategically evaded through meticulous adaptation endeavors, non-monetary gains enhancing fundamental human rights and well-being, and climate change's irrevocable and unavoidable aftermath encompassing non-monetary losses. That we have to understand from the perspective of climate change, it is option D. When climate change is doing such kind of impacts which cannot be changed, that is irrevocable, and unavoidable, that couldn't be avoided. Aftermath, which encompasses non-monetary losses such as loss of livelihoods. Loss and damage represent the irreversible consequences of climate change, cannot be avoided or mitigated, and these are non-monetary losses. Also, loss and damage fund talks the highlight of wealthy nations' reluctance to fulfill their responsibility for their historical role in climate change. They grew on the cost of us. Developed countries have grown in the past on the cost or expense of right now developing or underdeveloped countries. We are at the receiving end of the climate change. And loss and damage fund will assist poor and developing countries that are vulnerable to adverse effects of climate change. The fund was actually created in COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. Now Sharm el-Sheikh is actually in Egypt in the Sinai Peninsula. Okay, so keep this in mind. It will address the issue of climate reparations. That means you have to pay for the consequences you have created. You have to pay for the consequences you have created because you got developed first and now you are avoiding the responsibility. Okay. Regarding the Poshan Bhi Padhai Bhi program, consider the following statements. The program was launched by the Ministry of Education to strengthen early childhood care and education. The program provides for mother tongue as a medium of instruction. Very interesting question. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? Poshan Bhi Padhai Bhi program is a brainchild of Ministry of Women and Child Development, and that wants to strengthen early childhood care and education. It also provides for mother tongue as a medium of instruction because children tend to learn faster when in their mother tongue. So first is incorrect because here it is written Ministry of Education. It's the Ministry of Women and Child Development. Second is correct. So the correct answer will be 2 only. The Ministry of Women and Child Development has launched this program to strengthen early childhood care and education at Anganwadis. ECCE is planned under the new education policy. It is essential to Mission Saksham Anganwadi and Poshan 2.0. The National Institute of Public Cooperation and Child Development trains the Anganwadi workers. So you have to remember this as well. Okay. Moving on. The program provides for mother tongue as the primary teacher instruction medium. Then different types of teaching learning methods are also used, such as visual aids, audio aids, audio-visual, bodily kinesthetic aids to Anganwadi Sevikas. Consider the following. Ineffective marketing, uninterested customers, inefficient regulation, deceptive appearance. How many of the above is or are a reason that help fake loan apps survive? The fake loan apps are surviving throughout. Why? Because of their effective marketing. they will show themselves to be very lucrative. You will get this amount of loan at such a meager interest rate. Really? No documentation is required. No kind of assistance will be needed. You do not need to come to any physical branch. Digital lending is just lending through digital format. When there is no documentation, no collateral, and very lucrative rate of interest, then what will a person do? They will become interested. So they have very effective marketing strategies. When consumers are very desperate to get loans, in the current situation, consumers are becoming desperate because whenever a bank has to give loans, they will check the background, check many information before lending the loan. But when it comes to these fake loans, they know how to operate. People do not have good credit holding, they do not have good credit score, still they are able to access loans because they are desperate. So 2 is of course incorrect here. They have effective marketing, here it is written ineffective, and desperate customers are there. Inefficient regulation, yes, this is a reason because RBI is failing to regulate them properly. There is also deceptive appearance. They will appear as aggregators to Google and other search engines so that they can advertise freely. So yes, 3 is correct, 4 is correct, but not first and second. 2 only will be the correct answer over here. Recently, it has been seen that fraud loan apps are jeopardizing the digital lending market. Digital lending basically is to provide loans through digital channels such as website, apps, online platforms, banks, NBFCs, all these fintech companies do it. But fake loan apps are also surviving. In 2022, the RBI issued digital lending guidelines for regulated entities, but what about unregulated ones? They have deceiving appearances. Fake apps skillfully deceive Google and Apple by presenting themselves as loan calculators. When you click on the link, you will have a picture of a person giving you loan. Effective marketing. They have good advertising on Instagram, Facebook, despite whatever filters they claim to use, and also the desperation of borrowers. This is a practice question that you have to answer in the upcoming class. India has launched the initiative on critical and emerging technologies in partnership with which country? USA, France, Australia, Britain. Answer it correctly. I will take your names for sure. Thank you so much for watching. Stay updated.